additional nonsense that's been added in over the
it's going to be a dummies for us.
That's a wonderful idea.
And so for people who are celebrating these feasts at home, there's not a whole pomp or splash or glory, and how we can celebrate these feasts just at home. And so that's what I'm doing, and the website is at backtoyahweh.com. And I haven't announced it yet because it's still under construction. But it's going to be there, and it's just like a feast for us, a dummies type thing, and it's really a kick because a lot of the Lord's believers that have already been following these feasts for years are sending me emails and giving me tips and advice. Because the last one was really rough for me because it was this whole unleavened bread week, what you can eat and what you can't. And so I'm bugging people, tell me what we can eat and what we can't, other than just literally ignoring bread for a week and going through your home and throwing this stuff out. And you know what, it was the whole feast itself, from what I could see, is that it was twofold in the fact that, one, you don't eat the bread, and the biggest part of it is the symbolic thing of going through and throwing the leavened stuff out of your home. So it's literally a twofold festival. One is just as important as the other. Throwing out the leaven is just as symbolic as going through the week not eating it.
It's amazing how it is hidden all through the house, too.
Oh, I know, and I'm hearing from people, you can't, there's certain soap products or whatever that have, leaven in it.
I'm wondering if the Amish or the Mennonites come closer than most to an appropriate lifestyle. And
yeah, there you go. I look to them for survival tips.
Oh, yeah.
Because if anybody can live without power, they've got it down.
They seem to do rather well.
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing it all their entire lives, so they've got it all down.
It seems, too, that over the centuries they've lived a pretty sustainable life. They don't harm the environment.
No.
I don't know exactly how they keep their communities so stable, but they seem to be stable generation after generation, and I'm quite curious about them. I don't know much. Hopefully some of your listeners will call in and give us some insights there.
Well, it's almost like a twofold thing, and one side it seems really cool because they're just so apart from society, but then on the other side, the things that they actually believe are hideous.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's kind of like one of those twofold things. Yeah, I mean, they don't worship like we do either.
I honestly don't know what they do.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll do a show on it, but then, I don't want to mock them,
No.
Pay attention to them, and they're no threat to us. I mean, the Bible believers, I mean, they need to be reached, but most of them won't even look at you. They just look at you and run. Especially, I walk into a store, I've got a tank top on and my boots, and those women just look at me in complete shock. And they don't talk to you. The men will just completely shun you. The women, you might get a smile out of them. I used to go shopping at this one store, and it would just be filled with the Amish on Friday nights, and that would be my night to go.
Oh, my gosh.
And so it was always something. I mean, I just, I got tired of it.
Maybe they have, like, shunning workshops.
Yeah, you really feel like you just have the plague. And every once in a while, one of the older women would look at you and smile, Because, you can tell they're nice, they're told to shun us.
There's a group in eastern Indiana called the Paleo-Hebraicists, and they have a large and interesting site. I'm not exactly sure how they practice or what they do, or if it's one of these Messianic Christian organizations. I don't know. I was looking into that too, but like a lot of people today, I like to look around and see what people are doing, and it's hard to find one that is right, but
everybody's got a piece.
Yeah.
Everybody. It doesn't matter what religion it is. You can find a piece in the Hindus. You can find a piece in the Buddhists. Everybody's got a piece. Nobody has it right. And that's what the Lord has told me. Nobody has it right. You don't even have it right. We have pieces. Everybody has a piece of the puzzle. And when He comes, He'll put the puzzle together, and we'll live in that puzzle for 1,000 years of His reign here.
Well, that's rather nice because it gives. We don't have to be perfect at this time.
No, because you know what? The real issues are the whole redemption issues.
Yeah.
And people get hung up on that 30-second salvation prayer. Well, how are these Indians in Brazil going to hear about a 30-second? You know, they get hung up on that. If somebody doesn't say the prayer, they're not saved.
Mm-hmm.
That prayer just shows a verbal commitment to the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
You follow the Lord, follow His commandments, and you're His. You don't have to say the prayer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those who acknowledge the Lord and then seek to follow Him in His ways are His. Not all those who sat down and said that 30-second prayer.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And so that's what hangs up people in churches today. And so I think the Indians in Brazil who didn't have access to this prayer and are reading it and reciting it, it's silly. It's silly. Those who are the Lord's are the ones who obey Him and keep His commandments.
Mm-hmm.
And so anything else is retrospect. And all of these things that we argue about, all these doctrinal issues and stuff, I think I don't mean squat about, you know, towards your salvation, just because you're wrong or you're right.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll all be settled in heaven. Or, you know, and so until then, you know, things that don't affect your salvation that people spend their most time quibbling over.
I remember one time taking a foreign language class, and one of the students said, "I don't speak any of this language." And the professor said, "Well, that's why you're here. If you already knew how to speak the language, you wouldn't have to take the course." So
yeah, well, that's another thing on my dummy site. Because one of the biggest hang-ups is Christians heading to the Messianic sites to learn how to do all these feasts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they speak in Hebrew, and I just had this foreign language block in my head. They just lose me right there.
Mm-hmm.
I can't learn when someone's speaking in a different language. And so my site's going to be all in English.
Okay. Well, that's good.
It's all in English, so retards like me can just learn it without any hindrances.
Oh, it'll make it so much easier and clearer for people.
Yeah, because we don't have to revert to their language just because the Lord spoke. It doesn't mean we have to. We were born here.
Mm-hmm.
We were born under this language. He understands that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's nice to know the original language, but you know what? If you wanted to go back through the KJV and learn the original language and everything, well, then get a one in Hebrew, written in Hebrew.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to me, it's just it's annoying. It's a stumbling block. I can't learn past it. You know, it's Passover. It's not the meal of Seder. It's meal of Passover to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and all that stuff just becomes a hindrance. And so that's what I was doing on my site. It's all going to be in English, and tell people what they can do at home.
Oh, well, I'm looking forward to that, as I'm sure many of your listeners are. Well, I better go so some other people can call in.
All right.
And it's been a wonderful show, and I hope that some people call in and
some
things about the Amish. I'm just quite curious.
All right. Well, thanks for calling in. Always a pleasure when you call in.
Oh, thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Okay, bye-bye.
God bless. Listener call-in line, folks, 260-356-2611. Maybe somebody has some information on the Mennonites and the Amish and can tell John some of the info he's searching for. I know I've often gone through some of their stuff just looking for recipes because, you know, they're pretty good cooks, and I don't think anybody really knows, or I don't know a whole lot about them other than some of their original beliefs, and just seem to be totally set apart and opposite than ours in believing that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. But maybe somebody else has some info on that. Maybe I'll do a religion comparison sometime. Maybe I'll do a show on that and just talk about the different religions around the world, their central cores and beliefs, so we can have an idea of what other people believe. We know that everybody has a piece, and nobody has the whole puzzle put together yet, and as much as people think they do know everything,